question and answer time with Todd and Aaron.
It's time for Q&A with TNA. By the way, that stands for Todd and Aaron.
All right, welcome in to Q&A with TNA with Todd and Aaron. Just to be clear, and we have them in the right order, and man, everything's right in the world here.
Right? What's going on, my friend? How are you doing today?
I am doing good. I am coming to you from my office today, not the studio right now. Just thought we'd try something a little bit new here. So, yeah, good evening, Chuck. Hello.
What's up, Chuck?
Love it. All right, Todd. Well, sir, we've people are getting tuned in, I'm assuming, and we'll get them on board. But anything that we need to share before we get into the questions here?
It's been a trying day for me. We lost number 9. Number 9 went to her forever home today. So it was kind of, it happened quick. We weren't 100% sure when it was going to happen, but we knew. But she's moving 2 states away with her grandparents or with her grandma. So, good luck to her. But it is kind of, a sad day. We were hoping, hey, maybe we can pull this all together and we're going to do a dinner and have all this, going away thing. But it just kind of, happened really fast. And like, okay. So, I kind of threw the day into some shambles. But it was a good, it was a good goodbye, and we can't wait to see the things that she does. So,
good.
Yeah, it was just I told Corey, no more kids. You can't bring any more kids home. All right, no more kids.
No more kids. No. All right. Well, Jerry is ready for some A's to some Q's. So
yeah, I'm gonna do the ones. He's gonna do the twos.
That's right, the 1s and 2s. All right. Well, let's do this then. Let's dive right in. If anybody does have questions and they'd like to ask there, if you go to oursuccessgroup.com/QA, that's where you put your questions in, and then we will answer them in the next Q&A session. And I believe that will be next week, right?
Yes, that is.
Yes, it should be next week. That's right. This is a bonus week. March ended up having 3 Wednesdays, or 5 Wednesdays.
I just had 3 Wednesdays?
No, 5. So we will be back for Q&A next week as well. But yes, if you've got any questions. But shall we get to the ones that are here, Todd? Are you ready?
Let's go.
All right. Number 1, are trade shows worth going to yet?
I'll take swing at this one first, because I don't think trade shows were ever not worth going to. If there's a trade show, and I say it all the time, there's a trade show within driving distance of you, go to it. Because even if it's small and there may not be exactly everything you need, the networking, I feel, is one of the biggest takeaways that you get from trade shows. The people that you meet, the other experiences that you get, the other stories that you hear from other people. I think that still is one of the biggest things from going to a trade show, is just the interaction with the other people. So I am a big proponent of going to any and all types of trade shows, because you never know. If there's one in your area, it could be, maybe there's something there that you might be able to need, or fit a need of your customers, so you could learn more about it. Like today, I sat in on a DTG thing. I pre-treat DTG. I learned a lot. I learned that there's no way I am using a spray gun on DTG. I'm just not. And even going to the machine, I think I just buy shirts, right? I just buy the pre-treated shirts and go that route with it. And this is all I'm offering. But that's the thing is, I don't offer it. I don't do it, but I wanted to learn more about it. So there's always something you can pick up at every trade show. So I am a big proponent of going to everyone you can. So I never thought they were not worth going to. So if you're asking, are they worth going to yet? I say absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And my guess is, Todd, the question is more around, are people there and all of the vendors that are not showing up and stuff like that, which, again, that's a whole other story that I could get myself into all sorts of trouble for, talking about, because I think it's crap, to be honest with you. If you're a vendor and you're not going to a show, you're doing your customers a disservice. They, like you said, the opportunity to meet and talk and be with people is is huge. And so,
Mhm.
those that have decided, oh, we're just not going to do trade shows anymore. Okay, but guess what? I'm not going to talk about you
Yeah.
either. Right.
And
So,
I get two things on that, especially the ones that are local to you. I can understand. I'm not going to hit them all, because there's plenty of people
sure.
that's what they did is they hit every single one they were out there. But
Yep.
they've also cut back, and maybe they're just doing the regional one, or they're only doing a select few. That's fine. We
Yes.
understand cutbacks to that.
Correct.
But you have to realize that if you're not going to be there, that somebody else is going to be there in your spot. So, if that's where a lot of your interaction comes from is stuff like this, seeing people face to face, guess what they love to do? See you in real face to face. So,
Yeah.
Get out there and just meet and greet and, just shake hands with babies. And maybe they should just have, a panelist thing. How like when you go to like any for us any sports shows and that, they have the big name players and they go in there and it's just either a meet and greet or you can, just get your autograph with them for $37 or whatever the hell it is. Maybe you have a big 10 by 20 booth and each of them has like a 4-foot podium and you just go in there and they just get to have their spiel. It's just a giant conversation. So that way they're only, paying for one plane ticket. They're not paying for all of it because trade shows are expensive. I get it. And I get that, that they cost money to do, but I think the cost of money to do is less than the cost of what, the lifetime value of a customer is that you could pick up at that trade show.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you've hit it right for sure there, Todd. It's the relationships that you build with your customers in our industry. If you're selling goods, right, it's a touch and feel kind of thing. I mean, yes, you can do lives, you can do TikToks, you can do all these other things. But at the end of the day, if you're selling goods in our space, we need to be able to interact. We need to be able to, trust that we understand how it's working and all this other stuff. So I totally agree with you, Todd, there when you said, yes, do you need to go to all, every single one? No, not necessarily. But local to you, get to some of the main ones, that kind of thing. That I think it's a must for the vendors because here's the other side of this, Todd. I've been to, I was at DAX Kansas City. You were with us at the DAX shows last year, right? And the attendees are there. They're showing up still. They're still showing up. They get there, and I've heard the comments as they, we were at the end of the aisle in Kansas City, and I heard several people like, "Wow, where did all the vendors go?" Right? But so the attendees are still showing up. It's just the vendors that aren't showing up, and they're going to shoot themselves in the foot because the attendees are going to stop showing up, and they're going to look for alternatives, and they're going to look for the people that are there. And like you said, Todd, if you're not there, somebody else is going to be there. There was nobody of the what I would consider the traditional, sublimation distributors at the show. But there were new sublimation distributors that are people that you may have not have heard of before that. And guess what? They're getting customers where the Coastals, the JDSs, the Condis, the JPs are not.
And something else too is the great COVID escape of people. They escaped away. They started their own business. So they've never been to a trade show before. So they have no clue that a trade show could be half of what it used to be. They only know that, man, this is amazing. So, and a lot of times the way that the floors are set up is that they've condensed that down. So you wouldn't know that there's another room or another thing because you've never been there before. So you'd never notice that. You're getting in there. You still want to, the excitement still, the people are still excited to be out there and to see stuff, to see the equipment, to hear the embroidery machine. There's nothing better than, when you come in and you see those big pieces of equipment. That's why the big auto press and that, where they usually at, right there at the front when we walk in, to see all the moving parts and see everything with it. Those things aren't cheap to move. They're not cheap to set up. They're not cheap for any of that, but they bring it in because they know it brings the customers in. It asks questions. It's part of doing business. And I think that, I will fall on the sword all day. Everybody needs to go to at least one trade show a year. If it's within driving distance, you should be able to make it there. I understand jobs come up and things happen, but do your best to make it work because just about all of them are on, between Thursday and Sunday. So, there's, last year there was some that might've been in the middle of the week because everyone's pretty much back to that schedule of Thursday to Sunday. There's a trade show in between that time. And so you're able to go on that Saturday, go on that Saturday. My thing is, if you really want to go in there and you want to talk to somebody and you really want to learn more about equipment, there's something specific, go on the last day, early afternoon, because typically the shows are slower and they have more time. They're staying there to the end anyway. So why not go there? They'd be happy to talk to you instead of just standing there. Believe me, that's the last thing anybody wants to do is stare at a clock for 3 hours. Like, come on, all right, let's go so we can get this wrapped up. They'd love to talk to you about their equipment.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, let's check in with a couple folks here, Todd. We've got Evelyn checking in from Orlando. Thanks for being here. We've got Dawn. Hello, Dawn, and hi, Todd. And then Cindy, good afternoon. And yeah, Evelyn was said, are the vendors even showing up? So I think we discussed that. In fact, how are we going to get together with them, right? And then she mentioned that she already started to look for other vendors. So
I don't know. When a vendor goes to it, what do you look for? You want, the counts to be high. You want purchasing people. You want, I want a good turnout, but maybe there isn't a turnout like there used to be because there's not the vendors there. So I think it comes down to like that chicken and the egg thing, right? Who came first, It's one of those where we all know that trade shows were at one time were a great thing. We know that things have changed since then, and we've got to look at things a different way. And I know tons of people have said, hey, we do better online with it. We can, get to the people that we want to get to. But you know what? There's tons of people that when you go to a trade show, they've never heard of you before. They're going there for something else. They're walking up and down the aisles, and there may be something that they've never seen before and that you have. And now they're a customer that you never thought you could get to. So it definitely, if you have something that you're able to do, I would, you need to get there. You need to get there.
Yeah, totally. All right, Toy, welcome to. Thanks for tuning in. Cindy says we try to always go to the Texas trade show. Sometimes job keeps us from going, but yes, you're trying to go. Jerry says I always buy something new at trade shows. Often things I never knew about prior to the show. I need
Jerry,
to
quit buying things. I try not to buy things.
Yeah. You don't have to go to a trade show to buy things. I'm sure the vendors would like that, but it really is more about building the relationships and just kind of getting to know people and that type of thing. So
for sure.
Good stuff there. All right. Let's see what's next on the list here, Todd. How do I know what classes to take at a trade show, and what is the difference between the free and paid ones?
Ooh. So mine being on this side of it, it all depended on what I was doing. If I wanted to learn more about something, like me, I don't do embroidery. But if I want to know more about it, there's a lot of these ones that will have the free classes and I'll let somebody's putting on. So you can go learn more about it. Some of it may be way over my head, but at least I can get in there for it. So I look at the classes as if there's something that I can gain knowledge-wise from it. Embroidery being a good example, because since I don't do it, maybe it'll help me become a better client to my embroiderer, because now I understand what things are going on. Maybe just the process to understand, why are they charging me so much for this? I don't understand. Now I do understand because of what's going into it. Sometimes it's just like tips and tricks, and it doesn't always have to be vendor specific. There's a time that we went to a ProTech laser seminar. I don't have one of those, but we were doing, set up mock-ups, templates, things like that. Guess what? Tons of great information to be able to use in our type of laser and our other production work. So I always look at that. I always look at the presenter too and do a little Googler to see what I can find on them if I don't already know who they are. And then you just ask people, there's a lot of great classes out there. Now, on my experience, I know that they're not supposed to be pitch fests, but sometimes the free ones can be, they can be very product driven to the product you can only get from them. On other times it's not, but just know that, sometimes if you attend a free one, you're most likely going to get pitched on something somehow. When you go in on a paid one, very rarely is there a pitch on it. It's here's the information, here's what we're going to do. And you can always find out more information, about this, but you've already paid for it. You're going to get tons of value, amazing content. And that presenter, very few presenters that are presenting now are still presenting if they were presenting crap information, right? The ones that, if you're presenting crap and you're foreselling, nobody's going to want you to come back to teach a seminar. So anybody that's there, they're there for a reason on a paid one. So definitely that's my take on the difference between the two and what classes to take. What do you think?
I agree with you, Todd, on a lot of that, right? I think, to me, the more, okay, so there's a couple different parts to trade shows, right? the part that we were just talking about, getting there, meeting your vendors, and seeing the products and that kind of stuff, and whatnot. So you got that. Then the other side of it, what you talked about a little bit too, the networking with other people and stuff like that. But I think this third part, this educational side of things, is super huge, and there's so many great opportunities. And like you said, maybe if it's not even something that you do, you can still, as long as you can take one nugget away from it, it's a value to you. So I think when it comes to picking what classes, yeah, like you said, look into who the speakers are, what you are expecting to get out of them. The description's there, and if you're not sure, I'd reach out to the speaker. They'll let you know. Like say, hey, here's what I'm hoping to take away from this. Will you be covering that? And they'll either say yes or no, and go from there. So that's how to pick them. And then, like you talked about, the difference between the free and paid ones. Not to say that you're not going to get some good information out of the free one, but there's no such thing as a free class. So if you're not paying for that seat in there, then the person who's putting on the seminar is paying for that room, and therefore they have to get a return on their investment, which means that somehow, some way, they want to talk you into what it is that they buy or sell. Like Todd said, they're not just big pitch fests, and I think most people do pretty good with it. I think they've gotten, my understanding of it is they've gotten a little bit more that way because people weren't getting their return on investment. But they're going to tell you what you need to know to purchase their product, right? And they may not get into being a little bit more open about certain things because it might make you look somewhere else. So again, nothing against the free classes, but that was always my kind of like, I never quite understood that, right? If you're saying that this is actually really education, again, there's going to be a nugget there, I'm sure. But if you're paying $25 for your seat, then yeah, you should get some good information. And like Todd said, if those speakers are not able to do that, they will not be around for a long time. There's a reason why the people speaking typically are kind of got a pretty normal crew. We'd love to have more new people into that space for sure, to get new perspectives. But people want to go and learn from Terry Combs, because Terry Combs is going to provide really great information. Eric Campbell, Dan Clement, Charlie Tabley, these are the people that you see out there teaching all the time, because they're going to give people the nuggets, right? And I'm sure we'll see Jimmy coming back out to the circuit too, that kind of. So that's the difference between the free and the paid ones. And so I think we covered that. Todd, are we good?
Yeah, I think so. I think we got it. Yeah, and the thing is if you feel like you didn't get what you wanted out of it, I mean, I'd go up and talk to them and be like, hey, I thought maybe it was something more like this, because maybe the class, you read it a different way, or maybe it wasn't, worded, just if you have an issue with something, I think the worst thing you could do is get up and walk out and not say anything, because, then maybe it's just not the class for you. And that's what you can say, hey, this just wasn't my thing on it, because every presenter wants to get better, right? They want to, hey, what did I do? So definitely do that. If you have questions, that's what they're there for, is to answer questions. So definitely get into that.
Yeah. And I'll speak to that real quick, Todd, because as a presenter, right? Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, I go with a specific thing that I'm going to talk about, I want to share, but I do try to get questions and ask people what it is that they're looking at, or really, I kind of gauge the room at the beginning, who's new, who's been in this for a while, that kind of thing, and kind of see all that. And like you said, if there's something that you were hoping to get that you're missing, then yeah, come talk to me. Reach out after. I tell all of the people that attend my classes that, to me, this is not just us together for the 80 minutes, 90 minutes, whatever it is. This is the start of our relationship. My contact details are going to be at the end of this. I would love for you to reach out and ask me questions. And if I don't know the answer, I'll point you to somebody that does. So I think that's a really good point that you made there, Todd. Yeah. All right. Craig says, needs some to come up to the New England area. Yeah.
Yeah.
They just had the New Jersey one. That's probably as close as they're going to get here for a while, I think.
Yeah. What else? what else is up in that finger? Where else could you go up farther than New York? Because it's kind of
They used to do one in Providence. There was one up
Hmm.
in Providence, Rhode Island before. I think they did try Boston a couple of times, but I remember doing a couple of those shows, and this was back when the the shows were huge. You go to a Long Beach show, and it'd be a conference center and a half, and for whatever reason, they just couldn't get the people to turn out at the New England shows. So,
Interesting.
yeah, yeah, that was kind of a bummer because I enjoyed going up there as well. So. All right. Jerry says, I really miss TRW training at DAX, although Matt is on YouTube 24 hours a day.
You know what you can do with that, Jerry? You can send them a message and tell them that you missed them at a show, because that's one way that I think that everybody will start getting. You got to tell them, hey, I missed you at a show. Especially if you can go to a show and you see somebody else that was in their place. They're like, hey, you weren't there, but the Rhinestone Genie was there, and man, they really present some stuff, and their booth was packed. Give them that FOMO. Here, you're missing out, and you're losing out. So,
and that's the reality of it too, Todd. I was sitting there talking with some attendees at the DAX show on the Friday night at the party, and that had come up that TRW wasn't there and that they had enjoyed that, and they're like, but we're they were doing some vinyl stuff, and but we found this new vendor, and so yeah. And Jerry says, I have told him numerous times. Well, I guess the next step, Jerry, is to take your business elsewhere.
Tell him again, and tell him again.
Matt can call and yell at me if he wants to about that, but I truly believe that they're missing out by not.
Every time I talk to him, I'm like, you need to get back to a trade show, man. You need to get back to a trade show.
All right. Well, before I get myself in any more trouble, let's move on here to the next question. All right, DTG or embroidery, which one should I go with?
I don't know what we're asking with that question, as far as a decoration method or a service to bring in house or equipment to buy. Which way you want to tackle this one here?
Yeah, that's a good question too. I mean, it's kind of, it's hard because they're completely two separate things. I mean,
right.
And completely two different markets. Not that you couldn't be somebody that does embroidery and DTG at the same time, but man, you're talking about two completely different market segments as far as I can tell. So
yeah, I think we could have a whole hour on that, on the differences between and the pros and cons on which one is there. I guess it depends on what the question is. Are you looking to bring stuff in house? Which one's is easier? Which one's more cost effective to bring in house? Which one?
Yeah, let's just go that route then.
Okay.
I think that's probably the most succinct way to kind of break it down without, because like you said, the other side of that, there's just so many variables that I'm not sure we could really answer that.
Yeah.
So, which is easier to bring in house?
I would say in my gut that DTG is probably easier to bring in house, because it depends on what you're currently doing too. That's the other thing. Depends on what you're currently doing. If you're doing something with sublimation or vinyl, you understand the graphics concept of it. So and if you're understanding sublimation, you know the print concept of it. So really, all you need to really know how to do, and that is pretty simple anymore on especially a real DTG machine, is the RIP software. How do I make it print? Because if you don't want to do a pre-treated shirt, you don't have to pre-treat your own shirt. You can buy pre-treated shirts, so that we can take that out of there. So you can put a shirt on, print, seal, done. On embroidery, there's a lot that goes in that, because you're just not importing this logo and just okay, I need to hit a button and it's going to do it. So I think there's a much higher learning curve in that. I think it's tough because it depends on which market you're going after. I feel that DTG is a great print on demand type of thing. If you're gonna one-off shirts and that, it's great for that. I don't know if embroidery is the greatest for that, because of the amount of setup time and everything that goes into that for a single logo, because you aren't just hitting print. There's something that goes into it before that. So I think easier to bring in house would be DTG is what I would say.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. Evelyn here says embroidery is not an easy task and is a great learning curve. It's not just threading a needle. I think there's a ton of potential for embroidery, for a business. I mean, there are so many different things you can do. I know a lot of people that are doing really well with embroidery, but like you said, the easier one to bring in house first would probably be DTG, with things like pre-treated shirts and whatnot. It's certainly not a, just kind of magic button necessarily, but at the same time, it is a little bit easier to, as long as you got a decent file to push print and get a decent deal where, because even if you're sending your digitizing out, which, my understanding is that's what a lot of people do because that's what, that's the way that it works. You still have to understand how that stuff's going to stitch and what's happening with different things. And you may have to make some adjustments to the files because of the way your machine runs. And then you've got the whole hooping thing and getting that right. It's not that it's like impossible to learn, but there, it's definitely not something where, okay, I'm going to buy an embroidery machine today. It shows up tomorrow and I'm, cruising with it by the end of the day. Right. I mean, it's going to be a little trial and error there.
Well, let's go on that for a second. That's not going to happen with any machine. Very few machines are you going to be getting it in and it's going to be ready. Now they may tell you that at shows and they may show that on webinars, and I guarantee there's a learning curve with everything that you bring in. And so, you have to figure out how it's going to work for you. Now, there could be, a couple of days of training in there, but there's still going to be steps that you're going to forget and learn. And there's very few are just a simple, okay, we hook it up and press print. A sublimation printer is probably about the closest that you can get to that. You just got to plug it in and hit print and you're fine. Because there's a lot that goes into a lot of this equipment. And I know a lot of people over the years who've just been like, this wasn't the way that it showed at the trade show. They just printed it out and did this and everything worked great. Like, well, yeah, that's because that's the same image and the same, they do that the same thing every time. You wonder why they're never going to show you bad stuff. One of the things that, especially on the embroidery side, because, I was pretty close to buying an embroidery machine a few years ago. And one of the tips that I got is take your own file. You're not asking them to, print it out or to do anything specific, but I want to see, can it do this file? What's the stitch out look on it? And if they're not willing to do that, then I don't know if I'd be willing to buy from it. It doesn't have to be my colors or anything like that. You can have whatever's on the machine. I just want to see what it looks like on my file, especially if it's something that you are currently subbing out to somebody else, so what it should look like. You have it. If you have a hat that's done, that you had somebody do for you with your logo, hey, let's see what my logo looks like on this machine, and because it looks great on this one. And that's when you'll start to see, hey, all right, that works. Now, can you do that on everything? No, but if you're really serious about, making a purchase like that, then just, don't stand there right in front of the machine and do that. It's on the side. Hey, here's what I'm looking at doing. Here's what I want to do. I want to know more information about it. Serious about this. Here's my questions. Here's this. They'll take the time to talk to you. But there are a lot of looky-loos who are just in it for the free stuff. And so you kind of sometimes can get lost in the mix at it. Yeah,
there you go. All right. Well, I think we've covered that. So, all
right.
Pros and cons to both. So figure out what you give us more information. How about that?
Yeah.
All right. So I hear Todd talking about a mastermind, but how do I know if it's right for me?
What the hell? Oh, it was the we were talking about Masters of Success yesterday. I was like, when were we talking about that? How do you know if it's right for you? I think it's right for everyone. There, easy answer. I think everybody could use one. And I know ours is when you look at what else is out there at price points and that, because I know that's a big thing on people. Is I was on a call. What is today? Wednesday. I was on a call Tuesday morning with somebody, and their mastermind was $25,000 a quarter, right? And they're only doing with 8 and 9 figure businesses. So if you're doing 8 or 9 figures, we're talking tens to hundreds of millions of dollars. $100,000 is a drop in the bucket to that. And if it's something there, and those are the same people that you are in your group, because that's what it is your masterminds are going to be people that are in the same thing you're doing, in that same space. So if I'm in there with 5 other people who have businesses that are doing tens to hundreds of millions of dollars, to imagine the knowledge that's in that room, sure, you're going to get more than $100,000 worth of knowledge out of it. So, it's one of those things where read the room, know who you're dealing with, people that are in there. There's some that I've seen over the years that were really lowballed in there, where you're talking, $5 or $10 a month. And on those, are they really providing any value? No, because, it's only $5 or $10 a month. You don't really care. You're not really that invested in it. So, you show up, you show up. If you don't, you don't. You might get some things out of it. So, there has to be a level of action that you're willing to take, and an amount of skin you're willing to put in the game. You have to, if you want to do that. And then depending on how the mastermind set up, some of them could be set up where we're only going to do marketing. That's all this one is on marketing. Some might be your whole business experience. Some may just be on personal development. It really depends on the different ones that you have and out there. And I think, when Aaron said he's putting one together, I said, ball is in your court 100%, because, this is what I know. And I know you know a lot more about it than I am. And they had nothing but great feedback on ours. So I think, you've done a hell of a job setting that one up.
That's awesome. Good. Well, you've got it right. So I think the one thing, a couple things here about masterminds. First and foremost, there is a very specific formula for how a mastermind should work. So if this question is, I heard Todd talking about a mastermind, what Todd's talking about is a specific mastermind. Like Todd said, it can be a lot of different things as far as what they're covering, if it's just marketing or stuff like that. But if it's a group of 50 people that get together and just kind of chats, right? That's not a mastermind. A mastermind, there is some part or piece of it where it's broken down, and everybody in the group is broken into groups where everybody gets to share and everybody gets to help and support. So the whole point of a mastermind is it's 2 or more people coming together to do something more than they could do by themselves, right? So a mastermind group, like Todd said, if you're willing to invest in it, if you're willing to go all in and do all that stuff, can be massive. You talk to any real successful person out there, they have some form of a mastermind that they're a part of, whether it's just, a group of people that they get together with regularly to talk about ideas, or if it's more of a structured, formal one, like Todd was talking about, where it's, $25,000 a quarter. I've heard of even more than that too. And like you said, right, they find that the value that they get out of that investment more than doubles or triples that investment at least, right? And so a mastermind really is about getting into action. So there's a couple different levels to a mastermind group that I would look for. I want to know that is there going to be some actual accountability and some action being taken. I want to know, again, how many people are going to be there. A mastermind doesn't have somebody show up to teach something, right? That's just a training, and that's okay, right? But just people put these labels on it because mastermind's a hot term out there in the world. So anyhow, so if I was out there looking for a mastermind myself, which I'm not anymore, but I have my own group as well that I interact with, because it really is invaluable. But again, I want to make sure that everybody else in the group is as committed as I am. So, people are showing up, and things happen, right? Not everybody can show up every single time, but at the same time, there's a level of expectation. There's a level of agreement that everybody else in the group has committed to. And so, showing up, working together, with Masters of Success, that Todd was talking about there, it is kind of a business advisory board kind of scenario,
Mm-hmm.
right? We will certainly work on things that have happened inside of our success group with the different trainings and stuff like that. But it's really about, what's going on during this week or a couple of weeks, because we do it bi-weekly. And what are the issues that you're faced with? How can we solve problems together? How can we support each other? And there's that level of commitment from everybody to be there, hold each other accountable, and show up. So I think that's my main take on it, Todd, is just, is it right for you? Absolutely. I cannot pick out a single scenario where somebody would not be better off in some sort of a mastermind.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're out there looking for a mastermind, just make sure that you understand what how it should really work. So when I'm saying everybody should be in a mastermind, everybody should have a group of people that they work with on the regular basis to be able to bounce ideas off of, be able to get motivation, be able to find a new perspective, and then also feel that accountability and have that commitment to each other. So, did we cover that?
Yeah, and Jerry's, you can bring up Jerry's comment there. That you may feel that way, but I guarantee you do, because there's always something to gain from somebody. Sometimes it's just that unique perspective on ours, on something. That's one of the things about ours is when they break up into their little mini groups, is just hearing somebody else say something, or just having another team to talk to. That's the thing, because for me in the business, if I try and talk to any of my friends about this, they look at me like I'm crazy. What the hell are you talking about? What is it? This dye migration? I don't know. Is it something to do with global warming? I don't understand what's going on. They have no clue. So, when you're able to do things, to talk to other people that understand what you're going through, then it totally makes sense. So I think that it is for everyone. And then when you find the right one, then and not everybody is the right fit for every group, and that's perfectly fine too. It's like, I'm not a right fit for skinny jeans. Is there anything wrong with me or skinny jeans? No, we're just not a good fit for each other. So you kind of look at it that way. You find the joggers that work, and you're good to go. And that's what it is. You make things work, and when you find your people, then you're there.
Jerry's comment definitely stands out to me too, Todd. I'm glad that you pointed that out, because I almost missed it there. I was about ready to move on. Because I think I mentioned it maybe, but just to kind of reiterate this, that just getting a different perspective. So even if you don't know anything about it, right? Sometimes it's that newbie look that maybe people really need, that they might be missing. There's a story, and I don't have it in front of me here, so I might not get all the details exactly right, but basically goes that there was a student in this real high level math class at college. He ended up showing up late to class one day, and on the board was written this equation that he didn't know anything about it, and he showed up late to class, so he didn't get all the backstory that the professor had told at the start of class. And he thought that was the homework. So he went to work on solving it. And lo and behold, he solved the equation and turned it in. But when he turned it in, the professor was like, "Oh my gosh, what the heck?" The professor put it on the board as the unsolvable equation. It had never been solved. They thought it was never going to be solved. This average student who showed up late solved it because he didn't know any better, right? He didn't know what he didn't know. And so he just got after it. And so when you're in that space where you think, I don't have anything to offer in a mastermind group, I think I don't believe that at all.
Right.
Another quick story I can tell. So I love mastermind. I believe in the power of the mastermind so much that it's kind of my thing. Like Todd said, when I told him, I want to do this, that's my big breakthrough goals. I want to be able to work with over 1,000 people through our mastermind program and workshops that we'll do that are mastermind formed at our success group. That's like my biggest goal for our success group for me personally. And So with that being said, I knew I had to kind of get better at it, and I spent a lot of time learning about it and getting it right. And I've gotten so good at it that Jack Canfield does he calls it Momentum Mastermind,
Mm-hmm.
and that's $25,000 a year for people to join that. And what he does is he has people like myself who are certified trainers come in and run the breakout rooms for him. And so I've run breakout rooms for Jack Canfield, and talk about feeling like you didn't have something to bring to the room. The very first time I ran this breakout room for them, the president of Jack Canfield's company shows up, and she's in there as part of the group. And so I'm like, oh my God. The second time around, Jack Canfield is in the room with me and 4 other people. And so I tell you what, that, Brian mentions imposter syndrome, Jerry's talking about, I may not have anything to offer. I felt all of that. It like turned up to 11, and yet I still had stuff that I was able to share. I felt really good about it. I got good feedback, not only from Jack, but from the other people that were in the group about the things that I'd share, because again, it's just a different perspective. Even if you don't know anything about it, you're giving somebody a different perspective, a different way of thinking about it. And it could be, there's 4 other people in the group. It could be you take a little bit and piece from every single one of that, and that becomes the answer and solution that works for you. So, I'm not trying to sell masterminds to anybody here necessarily. What I'm just saying is, don't let these things hold you back, right? Imposter syndrome at a mastermind group is huge for me. And we all have different experiences. We all have different levels that we come to these things with. And the only way that you would end up being an imposter of these things is if you didn't show up, right? If you didn't show up to play full out, carve out the time, show up, be there, be willing to share whatever comes to your mind in your space, do all the things, then there's no way you can fail at that point.
Yeah.
So
it's like, buying the t-shirt to the team, yep. Hey, I'm a team member. I got the t-shirt to prove it, but I never show up. So I'm not a player, That's the thing, you get, there's a lot like that. And a lot of times, in these masterminds, you don't show up, you're not going to be there. There's only so many times you can not show up and just still be involved in it, and I think, a lot of times people don't think they have anything to offer. And when that comes up, what I found the best thing that they have to offer? Their ear, because they're listening and they're able to say, oh, this is my thoughts on it. Because just like you said, with the equation, which still throws me off, like, where the hell do those equations come from? I don't understand that. Like, you came up with this equation and you want an answer for it. Well, what do we need that for? That's a whole other thing.
That's a whole other thing. I don't know the answer to that either.
There's so many times where it's just that listen, they're just that hear, or just to have somebody else to talk to, and you learn so many different things. One of the things that I know in ours that a lot of people have learned is just, like those systems, hey, this is what works for me, because everybody isn't doing the exact same thing the exact same way. We only know what we know until we find something else out. So when you ask a question, hey, I do white toner. How do I do this? Well, hey, this is the way I do it. And it saves me, X amount of dollars or X amount of minutes. Oh, okay. You start finding out those little things like that. Hey, I have, we've got a lot of embroiderers in ours, and there's a lot of embroidery chat in it, like, hey, what about this? How do you try this? What are you doing? And so they're still feeding off each other throughout the weeks in between the calls. So, it's just not here's a call, see you in 2 weeks type of thing. They're always seem to be asking for more and other things. And we're happy to provide that, because there is so much good content to it. And other times, sometimes it's that whole, I feel overwhelmed. I've got all of this coming in, and nobody wants to do that humble brag. Hey, I just took, a $6,000 order and I don't have the time to do it. And I'm not sure what to do. And, this is your place to do it, because everybody has had that where it's like, what do I do? How do you manage in this? What do I do? And they're willing to help out. And a machine go down. How? Hey, let us help you out. And so there's a lot of that co-opetition in there, working together to for the greater good of everybody's success. So I think I'll harp on it. Do it. Find one that works for you.
Definitely. And Valerie says, I think it's worth it if you want to make your business more profitable. So I don't know too many people that don't want to. So that's, I would
say in Val's case, she does it so that way, she can make the business more valuable, more money, so she can enjoy the hot springs. Hey, I want to go and sit in the hot springs. I'm allowed to do that. So you find your goals, you find what you want to do, and then, hey, go sit in the hot springs.
Yep. All right. Ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Okay, Aaron, what is this volley thing you keep pushing? Yeah. What is it? What did you say?
It's
it was
so
fetch or
fetch.
something? So fetch. Okay. Well, all right. So I will give my quick pitch on Volley. So Volley is an asynchronous messaging system. That's a video messaging system. So
Okay.
think
I'll
of
give
it
that
like
in Todd terms. What does that mean?
so think of it like a FaceTime video without the person having to be on the other end. That's what makes it asynchronous. Like
Okay.
I can message Todd. I can hold up my phone and say, "Hey Todd, so blah blah blah," and then I hang up. I end the volley, and then that volley sent over to Todd. And Todd, when he has time, when he's available, he can then pull that up and go, "Oh yeah." So then you have that conversation. But then you can also have spaces where there's multiple people in there, and it becomes an exchange of ideas and thoughts and just different perspectives and working, just knowledge, learning. And so the thing I love about Volley is the fact that it's a space for action takers. I'll say that because you have to actually pick up a phone or camera or something and put it in your face and push a play button, push a record button, and then say words, right? Just like we're doing here. We have to say words. Doesn't matter what they are. It's really laid back. Half the time, I'm rolling out of bed and I might jump on there and say something or reply to something or whatever. You don't have to look great. There is just a voice only option just in case you really feel like that. But again, being able to see somebody, hear the inflection, kind of understand what they're saying is so much more valuable than me typing in that same exact message. There's a gentleman that is started a space over there, and this is a guy that I've been following for a while. He's a pretty big in the video and digital marketing space, and I've been following him for a while because he shares some really good information. And I've been in his group for I don't know a couple of years now, and in the 5 to 6 minutes worth of volleys of his that I listened to, and then I replied back and stuff like that. I knew more about him in that 5 to 6 minutes than all of the years that I've been in his Facebook group. Right. And just from that interaction, just from being able to, say, "Oh, interesting, Eddie. So what are your thoughts on this? Here's how I do it." And then he responds back, "Oh, well, yeah, blah, blah." And I'm like, okay. Now I get who Eddie is. I understand who he is and what he's all about. And now the information that I get from him is even more valuable to me. So that's what I love about it. Is it the next Clubhouse? Who knows? In fact, I don't even know it's going to get to that Clubhouse level. They're trying to grow it. They're trying to get it to take off. I don't know what's going to happen with that. They originally thought it was going to be a certain thing, and now they've really kind of latched on to the coaching space and that kind of stuff because there is some huge value for that. So I'm in another group over there on Volley, which is for coaches, and self-help type and business coaches and stuff like that. And the saying over there is it's like having a coach in your pocket instead of a coach on your schedule, right? I don't have to, do a Zoom call or anything like that.
Yeah.
Whenever I've got a question, I pick it up and I go, "Hey coach, so what do you think about this?" And then the coach, when they have time, picks it up and says, "Hey Todd, that's great. Yeah. So here's what I would do." Right. So anyhow, that's what Volley is as far as I'm concerned. I'd love to hear what you think Volley is, Todd.
Discord with video.
That's
I like it. I have gotten on the Aaron, pretty much. I knew if I didn't do it, I would hear more and more and more, and he would quit communicating with me every other way, and it would only use Volley, so I would have to. And so I just said, you know what, we're going to do that. And as we've gotten more people, especially in ours and our success group side of it, me and Dean carry on great conversations in there, and it's just not always work and things like that. There's some great chatter, of stuff in there. So I like it. Who knows what the future is going to hold for it, but I do like how it is set up, and we can put things in there. Now, I have not used it on the computer. I've only used the app. So, I haven't even tried to explore that side of it to see what there is, what there. I do know, like, you will send me links and I can open them from my phone and I can save them. And if it's something I need to save, I'll just send it over to myself. But there are, I haven't found bad things about it. I was going to say very many bad things, but I can't think if I found a bad thing about it yet.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to be on camera. You don't have to be either. It's more fun, but you can totally do a video one or an audio where it's just audio, and you can do that. I did that the other day. We were driving and just hit it, and set it down. So, video is always more fun than audio, but yeah, I say, come over, check us, just join our side and get over there. And then, I'm going to harp on it. So that way Aaron harps on it. And then we can at least we need 5 people today. That's what I need, Aaron. That's what I need. 5 people.
We need 5 people to join. All right. Well, there's the link down there. So yeah, Todd mentioned our space there, and we've got a couple of channels in there. We can add new channels. We can do whatever. I mean, this is the type of space where, we just want to talk about success. So it's called the Success Principles channel by our success group. But there's a place where we do talk about success principles. We added a channel for Kylene from Thankful Thursday to share daily gratitude in, if anybody wants to jump in there and talk about gratitude. We've got business success tips, introduce yourself, random, ask me anything. There's a wanderlust channel in there, meaning what do you're out doing something, you show off, that kind of thing. So Todd put it in the comments there, but it's osg.link/volley. It will take you to that particular space.
And I'm going to learn between now. Here's my thing. We got today's Wednesday. By this time tomorrow, so I'm giving myself 24 hours. I will learn how to start a thing in it. Whatever. What are they called? Like individual page? What is it? Because you've got
channel or your own.
So you got the channel, right? Because we got the main.
So you got the main one, which is the space.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got the channels, which are success principles, daily gratitude, business success. And then you can actually then thread off of something that somebody said in a channel too, but that's a whole different story.
I will start a channel in hours for Tuesday with Todd, so I can talk ideas, talk things like that. What things you're having issues with. I will start that. So I will. There is mine, but I need 5 of you to take action as well to get in there and because here, I don't want to feel stupid, so don't make me feel stupid. Get up there, get in there. Let's have some fun with it, because we know, hey, if Tuesday with Todd is fun, could you imagine Tuesday with Todd every day? I mean, we can really have some fun.
Yeah. And you could totally do that, because that's the other thing, Todd. I mean, you go in and look at this stuff. There's some, I started sharing something to post, an idea to post on Facebook every day. So today was the second day. So I've got 14 of them, and I'm going to share over the next, 14 days starting yesterday. I'm not putting that anywhere else, right? So there's information in here that you can get for free to just show up and, it is for the action takers though. I mean, that's the other side of it. My goal is to get off Facebook Messenger and honestly, really limit my time in the Facebook groups, because I feel like I can have a relationship with people more so on Volley than through a Facebook group or Facebook Messenger. I get it. There's a place for all that stuff. But the more I can do on Volley, I think the more I feel like I just feel like I have a connection with people. And so I like that feeling.
There's nothing wrong with that feeling. Nothing
sure.
wrong with that feeling at all. Because I'm doing math here real quick. Because you think about this, we all want, you think it's about followers, you think it's about, viewers, and subscribers and members and all of this. But, at the end of the day, if I want $100,000 business, I only need 20 people to spend $416.67 a month with me. That's it. I just need 20 people. So that may seem like a lot, but that's, roughly $1,500 every quarter. So if you're able to put packages together, you're able to do that. And that's only 20 people. So if you're able to get your 20 favorite clients together in one spot, hey, let's do that. Don't focus on I need all of this. No, you just need a few of them that's going to spend, some good money, and you create that good relationship with it. So I say, this is going to be action takers, idea thinkers. This is going to be a great thing to go. And to me, maybe maybe this is something else to look at too, Aaron, is this is like a pre-mastermind, this is, this is maybe a little something like that, where here's the type of things and we get more in depth into. So, it might be something more like that. I think you're going to see a lot more. And I think, I only need 4 more, right? Way to go, Brian.
There you go, Brian. We need 4 more. I'm looking at it right now. We need 4 more. All right, let's hit a couple more comments here. Thank you, Evelyn. We were just talking about being in the room with Jack. I think you are enough. Thank you. That little inner critic kind of popped up really quick, but I was able to go, nope, I recognize you, buddy. You're out of here. Peace out. Hey, Mrs. Inner Coach, right? Show up, and the coaching was, hey, you're enough, right? Evelyn was there speaking to me at that moment. So.
Everybody's got those on their shoulders, right? Not everybody's like me and have them tattooed here. So, but they're there. That's anytime, I think I have them there to look, which one do I want to go with? And and I remember that because when you had that call and he was there, and I said, how'd you do? I'm sure you did not let him run over you. And I am almost positive you said at one point you thought, hey, I'm not going to. And you're like, no, I'm in this for a reason. And you took control of it, and great things happen. So, it takes a certain person to be able to do that, to tell Jack, no, this is my show, boy. You're in here. You're in my room.
He said, who's leading this? And I'm like, that's me. All right, out of my way, buddy. We got this. You asked me to do this, and that's what I'm going to do. All right. Yes, thank you, Todd. I appreciate that. And Brian, yes, and there could be a little side of this whole volley app thing that my love of volleyball also makes me interested in it, but it has nothing to do with actual volleyball. So
does it? Or because isn't that the volley back and forth? Is that where
that's the whole idea, is the volley back and forth? Yeah,
from volleyball. So
there you go. Yes. Yep, it is. And Wendy says Aaron Volley King. So we got all the links in there. Yeah, I actually have it. I am, Volley actually sent me this, and this is there, get it. This is an awesome sweatshirt. I love, it's thick, it's comfy, it's what was the name?
Lane 7, right?
Lane 7, yeah. Wonderful sweatshirt for sure. So
that he just threw on the floor.
That's where I'm keeping it right now. It's okay.
This is an amazing sweatshirt. Look, socks.
Yeah. All right. So let's see here. I have Volley, but not used it yet. Yeah.
Time to, Chuck. Get on there, Chuck.
Yep. And Chuck, I don't know if I see you in the. Oh, I do see it. Yep. In fact, yes, I have actually sent you a Volley, encouraging you to introduce yourself. And Michelle says, I signed up for Volley, but haven't introduced myself yet. So that's okay.
Get over there.
Yep. And that's the cool part about this. It is really low pressure. It's really easy. It's really laid back. So the thing, I'll tell you this, Todd, the thing that kind of attracted me to it at the very beginning is I got on there. I'm like, okay, I heard about this. I thought I'd check it out. One of the first things that happens is they send you these automated messages from Hello Volley, and they're recorded messages from one of the guys who's the founder. I think it's Joe or Josh. I can't remember which one sends the automated message. And they say in there, hey, if you will reply to us, we'll reply to you, kind of thing. And lo and behold, 20 minutes after I replied, the founder's in there saying, hey, Aaron, it's so great to see you, and here's what the deal is. And then they tell you all about it. They're like, hey, the way we intended this is to be completely informal. You don't need to you start off with an introduction. You don't need to close. Say what you want to say, share what you need to share, ask what questions you need to ask, and then jump out of it. And then and go from there. So that really drew me to it, that it I didn't have to be in studio. I didn't have to have it all planned out. I could kind of Tuesday with Todd it a little bit, right? And just go with it. So
yep, just go with it, man.
I think it's really cool. The other thing I guess I'll say about this, Todd, and I promise I will stop pitching it here soon, but I just think this is so cool that I really want people to be involved. They've committed, the guys that started this, the team that started this, they've committed that this is not going. It's not a social media channel. They don't want it to be a social media channel. There's not going to be an algorithm trying to tell you what your feed should be. It'll be chronological always. They've even said, if you get into a space and there's already a bunch of stuff in there, yeah, the expectation is you just get in where you get in. They think that it's like, showing up at a party or in a networking event, and if you show up 15 minutes late, the people have been having those conversations. They're not going to go back and start that conversation over again for you. You're going to jump in where you jump in, and you're going to just start having that conversation. So that the other thing is they committed to is that what's free now, which is the whole setup, will always be free. So they're not going to be like, okay, well, you've always been able to do this, but we need to start monetizing this. So we're going to start charging you to have this, right? So what's free now is always going to be free. So that was the other part that stood out to me, is like, yeah, I don't need another social media channel, TikTok or whatever, right? So, and then the fact that what's free is always going to be free. So anyhow, I think that's it. We cover that enough. Let's see where we're at, Todd. Let's see if we got 5 yet.
But I don't know. We're
still got 4 more to go here, folks. So yeah, we need 4 more, and osg.link/volley. So there we go. And then Wendy shared, I will say I've been volleying this week. I like that it's quick and no typing and autocorrect hell. Yeah, that's a good point too. I didn't even think about that, Wendy. All right. Hey, Todd, we good?
I think we're good. I think we're good.
We've got, I don't know. You kind of already covered this, but maybe we just cover this last question and call it a day. How's that?
I will say let's whatever you want to do. Let's pull it up. Let's go. All
right, let's do it. Pre-treat machine, spray gun, or pre-treated shirts. Talking about direct to garment.
Me, I'm going to do pre-treated shirts. I just think there's less mess. There's as far as I know, because I don't do it on a daily basis, I'm going to assume that there is less chance for screw ups because it's more consistent. That's at least that's what I'm hoping for if I'm getting it. While your cost may be higher on that garment, I actually believe it's lower when you factor in the labor expense.
Correct.
Unless you got somebody in their minimum wage, that's all they're doing all day long is just doing pre-treated shirts. And then what is this? You can't even I learned today you can't fold pre-treated shirts afterwards because it can create a crease and it might do something with the artwork. What the hell? I don't want something
really?
that does that. Yeah, you're supposed to lay them flat so that way it doesn't take the chance if it's not fully cured that it can create a hot spot for it, which it makes sense, I guess, kind of maybe it doesn't. I just I was like, okay, well, no, I want to be able to fold my shirts. I don't want to have them lay there. Maybe it was before because you have to spray them, and then you got to cure them. So maybe it was that before you cure them, I don't know. I just heard not fold because I wasn't really paying a whole lot of attention.
Okay, all right. No, I mean, I can hear somebody saying that, but I've never experienced that. And honestly, with pre-treated shirts, you don't necessarily have to cure them. If you set them out to dry and they dry, it's the curing process, the setting it is more to get the moisture out of it, and then the other part of it flattens down the fibers, so you have a smoother print surface. But I mean, I see the reason why I just have this big question mark above my head when you're talking about that though, Todd, is we used to, for people who don't know, back in 2006, 2004, I don't know the year, whatever, I was involved in the early direct-to-garment stuff. And we would go to trade shows and show the machines. It was the T-Jet machine that I was involved with at the time. We would show the machines and we would pre-treat shirts. And at that time, there was no such thing as a pre-treated shirt or even a pre-treat machine. Everybody used Wagner power sprayers to spray the shirts, for the most part. There were a couple other little ways out there, but none of them production friendly. So we would, back at our location there at US Green, we would pre-treat hundreds of shirts that we would then take to the shows with us. And, you'd have to fold them up. We wouldn't fold them like a retail fold. We would just do printer folds, meaning take the shirt and fold it in half, for the that aren't familiar with that term. And so yeah, we folded all the shirts. We would hit it with the heat press before we printed it, again, just to flatten down the fibers. But anyhow, different. So so I guess, do I need to
so where are you at on that? Are you a
well,
power sprayer, a machine, or are you a pre-treated shirt type of guy?
so I'm with you, Todd. If I can do pre-treated shirts, I do pre-treated shirts. That I think that's the way to go. The challenge with pre-treated shirts is there is a limit to what is pre-treated, right? So you can find pre-treated t-shirts, but if I want to print a hoodie, I want to print something that's not just your basic t-shirt, then you probably will not find a pre-treated something other than a basic tee out there. So you do need to have another method. Now, I would suggest a pre-treat machine, because then you take out the variables. You can make it repeatable, where I can put something in. Once I get it dialed in, I push a button and I get a repeatable result. With a spray gun, no matter how good you get at it, it's still kind of an art, right? You're gonna over spray some, you're gonna under spray some. Now for me, I've done thousands and thousands of them, so I can get it down pretty good. But at the same time, there still will be a mess up, a spoiled shirt in there somewhere from time to time, and it just kind of part of the gig when you're going with the spray gun. So
when would you find that messed up shirt? It wouldn't be until the printing was done, right?
Correct, because when you put that layer of white down, if you didn't get enough pre-treatment in a certain area, you will see that it will not, the white won't lay as evenly on that. So, and then if you've over pre-treated it, you won't figure that out until after it's been washed a couple times. So
by that time, most of the print-on-demand big ones don't care, right? They just got it out the door and it's fine.
Yeah, and anytime you get one from a big print-on-demand type company, yes, it's going to feel pretty crunchy because they've pre-treated the crap out of it.
Good to know.
Yep. So Wendy says, is pre-treated shirts in supply shortage problem? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't
and
look that far into it.
Yeah, there is. In fact, I can't remember. It's the charcoal. So my favorite pre-treated shirt is the Districts. There's a DTG pre-treated shirt from Districts from Sanmar, and I just love how soft it is, and it's prints really great and stuff like that. But they have very limited colors, and then their supply has been pretty terrible. I think it's the charcoal gray is completely out of stock right now, and has been for a while, like a lot of things out there in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But now Rtp Apparel, which is the guys that made pre-treatment machines. I used to always joke with Brian over there that he was kind of putting himself out of business, because what they sold was pre-treat machines, and then they got into the pre-treated apparel because he saw the writing on the wall, and so they've got some good stuff over there, and I think they've done a decent job keeping them together. So
nice.
And then Terry shares there are aerosol cans of pre-treatment for Brother and Epson printers on the market. Just like a Wagner sprayer, though, you have that coverage issue, right? So how far, how close, how much, how fast, all that kind of stuff. I've never used the aerosol can, so I can't speak to how they work, but a Wagner sprayer would do the same thing with the pre-treatment solution in it. So, here we go. RTP. Yep, I love it. Terry said, Wendy, I spoke to RTP and a few days ago, and they stated they are low on certain colors. So, I know Brian went in pretty big and was trying to eliminate that, but everybody I think is still challenged with that kind of stuff. So, all right, Todd. Well, I think we covered it. Yes,
I think so too.
no,
I think we
maybe?
nailed it. We just went a little over, but we're good.
Shocker.
But we will be
All
back
right.
next week. But what else you got going on
Yeah.
this week? What else do we got going on for you?
Well, actually, here tonight in a couple of hours, I'm going to be going live with the young ladies from Everything Embroidery Market over on their page, and we're going to talk about the business classes that myself and Kylene are going to be putting on out there at the Chattanooga show, and just kind of give everybody kind of what it is that I plan to share, and find out what people are looking for, and just have an opportunity to share with their community what they can expect, because this is my first time going to their show, and so I get to meet all these new people, and I'm really excited about that. So.
Awesome.
I think that's about it. Let's see. You got the usual 2 regular guys happening here on Friday, and this Friday is actually episode 444. So it's a special number show there, 444. So we decided that for this show, what we're going to do is we're going to look back into the archives, and myself, Terry, and Eric will actually be live on screen with us this Friday, are all going to pick out our 2 favorite shows and share those, and then share the takeaways, and so kind of give people a little extra that they can take from it. So that'll mean that we'll share 6 previous shows with you, and why they were our favorites and what we took from them. And so that's happening on Friday, and then we've got
each one of you are sharing 4 things, right? 2 shows, 2 takeaways, so that's 4. So you're getting your 4. Good job.
Yeah, that's right. There you go. You figured it out, man. So we're looking forward to that on Friday, and then got the half afterwards. So what about you, Todd? What else is anything else happening? I know you got Morning Mindset, correct?
Morning Mindset Friday morning, 8:30. This week we've got some decent projects going, and apparently I get to do some plumbing work. So we'll see how this.
You gonna volley that? Maybe you can start a volley plumbing channel.
Yeah. I'm gonna create new swear words because I don't understand what's going on. I gotta take it. I gotta do that, and now apparently a bathroom door. Because by the time it's time. The door isn't staying as it should. So I went through that. I can just replace this piece of it, or does it just make more sense to buy a whole door? And of course, me does not make sense to buy a whole door, but to her, hey, we'll change out the door.
There you go. Upgrade.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, cool. Well,
and then volley. I'll be on volley. Be over on volley. Volley.
On volley. We still got 4 more to go. So get over on volley. Here, we'll share that link one more time for everybody. osg.link/volley takes you right into the OSG volley community, where there's success principles discussion, daily gratitude, business success tools, random. There's soon to be a Tuesdays with Todd channel in there as well.
There is. I'm gonna make it happen.
All right. And Chuck, 8:00 Central Time. So that'd be, let's see, I think Chuck, you're in Eastern time zone, so that'd be 9:00 your time. And just search for Everything Embroidery Market. It's actually EEM, I believe. And I'll try to put the link out there on Facebook as well. But it'll be over there in their group, or not group, their page, I believe. So.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, Todd, I think we've covered it. So next week we'll be back for Q&A with TNA again. And so get your questions in, oursuccessgroup.com/QA. And we'll see everybody then, Todd.
We will see you guys then. Have a great time. See ya.